Come back from war and you're expected to be around everybody who's happy and smiling when you're just a ball of anger. In 2006, I decided I wanted to be a cop. Because of that police officer who took care of me that night that my mom crashed a snowmobile. He was such a good person to me, and he was so nice to me, and he made me feel better. He came and checked on me multiple times afterwards. I liked the fact that he was there to protect me, and I felt that protection from him. You know, my fastest route to becoming a cop would be to join the military, and in my thoughts, I would be a cop in the military and then get out and become a cop here. I was a cop at 19. I got back to my first duty station, and I didn't even do my job before they sent me on my first deployment. And we were part of the Scorpion 1-5, and so we went out, and our job was to do route clearance. My whole job was to find the bombs before they blew up. If I didn't find those bombs, it's pretty obvious what happens. I was the lead gunner, so I was the first one in charge. So I was 20 years old. My whole job was to make sure my team didn't die. There was a lot of stressful days out there, a lot of times where I just sit there and watch my teammates walk out to check to make sure something wasn't an IED, knowing that there could be secondaries, knowing that they could step on a mine any second. 6 months straight of literally looking for bombs, and your heightened sense of awareness is up. You're in the fight or flight mode constantly. You get back from deployment, and everybody's happy. You know, everybody's just happy you're home. Everybody's living their life, and you get back and you just hate it. You hate it. Every single second of being home, I hated when I was in the military, because I kept thinking about, I have people overseas and I'm here. I don't want to be here. I want to be over there. And you become focused on being deployed, because you know when you're overseas, you have a mission, and the mission that you have is life or death. And if you don't do it correctly, people die. But when you're at home, you feel like you're doing nothing. You feel like you're wasting your life. So I went back 9 months later to Iraq, in northern Iraq. That deployment was rough for me because I was law enforcement. So I would drive around and we'd have to respond to certain calls. And there was a lot of suicides on that deployment. There's one I'll never forget. We got a call for a possible suicide, and we drove out, and I was the first one there. And I walked in the room, and a young soldier he was like in his early 20s. He laid down on his bed, got dressed for work, and he put his M16 on his chest, and he shot himself through the bottom of the mouth. And he blew off about half of his head, but he was still alive. He was still moving, he was breathing, and he was calling out for help as much as he could because he couldn't move his mouth. So I walked up, no clue what to do in that situation. Luckily, 2 firefighters came in right after I did, and they start working on him. And I asked them, what do I do? And the Joe just grabbed my hand. So I just sat there and waited for him to die, because that's all we could do. So he passed, and I'll never forget ripping his grip off my hand because it was so tight. I couldn't get it off, and I had to have these guys help me peel his hand off. That was rough. A lot of times in the military you tend to bury things, and I would tell you, burying your issues, burying your traumas is not the way to go, because that will haunt you. I was very angry for a long time. I hated just about everybody. The only people I thought I could trust and lean on were my brothers, people in the military, people I served with. That hate overtook me, and it got me to the point where I resorted to, trying to end my own life. I think it was through my own personal journey where I decided to look inside myself, find out who I am and who I want to be. There's a lot of points in my life where I didn't feel like that. So I decided to take charge of my life, and I decided to change. And overall, through my journey, people have disconnected, and we need to connect. I think until people start connecting more, nothing's going to get better. A conversation literally can change anybody's perspective, or it can at least make you bring you closer to that person, as long as you have an open mind and you don't judge people for what their opinions are. Just get together and talk to people. Talking to your brothers, talking to your neighbors, talking to your family, talking to everybody. The only way you improve any situation, sit down and talk about it. If we don't get down to the level of somebody who is at that point of suicide or is suffering severely with PTSD, if I don't get down to their level and go back to those points that I've been, where I've been at my darkest times, I can bring myself to those dark times with them because I know how to get out now. And so every veteran that I talk to who is at that point, they can rely on me to get down there with them. I can be in that situation with them, and I can help them get out. And through helping them get out, I feel successful. So that got me thinking about, what's wrong with the whole therapy system. So some of the problems I started noticing in the veteran community throughout myself and talking to other veterans is we have no mission, we have lack of community, we have issues with depression, and we have, PTSD obviously is a huge issue, but there's not enough programs to help. And through my healing process, I developed Warrior's Next Adventure. So my main focus is finding veterans who are suffering from PTSD, severe depression, suicidal thoughts, anything like that, getting together with them and talking to them. And through our conversations and having them talk about their traumas through what I've been through, starting Warrior's Next Adventure has given me a chance to share my traumas, to talk about my issues, to share my experiences, and it's healing. I personally have felt better ever since I've started Warrior's Next Adventure than I ever have. I feel like I have a mission, I feel like I have responsibility, and I feel like I have something to offer. So through helping veterans, I help myself. I'm greedy in that part. I like to get down to that level, and I like to help them build themselves back up, because seeing somebody turn into the best version of themselves is what I'm addicted to doing. So I just want to do my best to help veterans get to that point.